the reason that forgiveness is a better life strategy than hate is that, contrary to what is often conventional thinking, forgiveness is stronger. Love is simply stronger than hate, and that's why God's strength is made perfect in our weakness, that says, God, I can't do this, but you can do this through me. We live in a badly hurting world, and we hurt each other, and we receive hurts from other people. And that's a natural thing. Forgiveness is supernatural, but what's natural is you hurt me, I want to hurt you back. So as we're on this journey to forgiveness together, we need to talk a bit today about hate. Hate's a very strong word, and I used to not understand it or its appeal too much, and then eventually I did. And I want to talk to you about why it's a bad long-term strategy, although it is inevitable in human life for hurting people. It will happen, it will come. And the phrase for today, the phrase I want to invite you to say, I'll come back to it, is just a real simple two-word phrase. You too. You too. So, Lou Smedes writes in his book about forgiveness this about hate. Passionate people are often sure that power comes only from hate and violence. We must listen to what they tell us. We live in a world where we see that every day. We think about what's going on right now, particularly in Gaza, and it is in frightening and very, very powerful evidence there. Nobody in modern times, Lou writes, has persuaded more people that violent hate is the power of the future than his Frantz Fanon, a fervent Algerian psychiatrist who a few decades ago wrote a book called The Wretched of the Earth, meaning all the people who live in the unfair pain of oppression and poverty. Their salvation, he believes, lies in hate's violence. And this is what Fanon wrote. Violence is a cleansing force. It frees the person who suffers unfair hurt from his inferiority complex, from his despair and inaction, makes him fearless, restores his self-respect. And we see this philosophy played out all over the world. Lou goes on, hate does have a feel of power to it, I admit. To a person energized by hate, forgiving feels flaccid, sapless, impotent. We feel stronger when we nourish our contempt and plot to get even. We dream up brilliant schemes for putting our enemies in their place. We pin them down in public. We make them grovel. And our very vengeful dreams make us feel strong. And I know something about the power of that and the appeal of it. And then he goes on to talk about the problem with hate. Hate gives instant energy, but it runs dry after the suffering stops. Hate can keep us going while we feel battered, but the drive dies down as time goes on after the ordeal is over, and then hate turns its power against the hater. It saps the energy of the soul, leaving it weaker than before, too weak to create a better life beyond the pain. Hate is for emergencies, like a fast battery charge. It's a quick fix, like heroin. As a long-term energizer, as a strategy for life, it's unreliable, and in the end, it kills. Hate power is especially superficial when it's generated by our fear of weakness. And then Lou gives a story. Mark Zwonk thinks of his wife, Karen, as an efficient, aggressive, domineering woman, while he sees himself as an ineffective, timid, submissive man. Karen goads Mark a lot. She wants him to take charge of the children, make decisions, face up to the mechanic who ripped him off, get ahead in his job, generally stop letting people push him around. Mark is miserable. He hates himself for being the weak member of the partnership. One night, at a party with friends, overextended on Chablis, Karen laughingly said that she despised Mark for being a mama's boy who never grew up. The icy meanness of Karen's jibe froze Mark's feelings into a hard block of hate. When they got home, Mark stepped on the throttle of his humiliated ego and screamed, "For this, I will never forgive you. Never." And he did not forgive. His hate became his secret pet, He succored it, nourished it, fondled it, and let it roam the ranges of his soul. His hate felt to him like a generator of inner power. But his hate was only surface strength. Beneath his hate, he still suspected Karen had him sized up right. He was really weak, impotent, ineffective. His hate was a cover for the weakness he dared not show. Karen wasn't fooled. She understood his powerful hate was just a mark for his weakness, the only disguise he could find. She knew Mark, but she hardly knew herself at all. She closed her eyes to the fact that her own cocky toughness was a well-tuned instrument for keeping her own weakness under control. Karen was scared of a legion of secret demons flitting inside of her soul, and she needed strength from Mark so that he could be her crutch. But Mark wasn't strong enough, so she played the tiresome game of being stronger than him in order to hide her weakness. But Karen learned. It took a near nervous collapse to teach her, we never win the game of being only strong and never weak. We never win the game of being only strong and only weak. We are all of us a combination. We are all of us both strong and weak. And the idea that we can go through life only experiencing strength is both false and utterly destructive. Now, the reason that forgiveness is a better life strategy than hate is that, contrary to what is often conventional thinking, forgiveness is stronger. Love is simply stronger than hate, and that's why God's strength is made perfect in our weakness that says, God, I can't do this, but you can do this through me. We're seeing this played out in our world right now, most publicly in Gaza, although it plays out all the time in families and in nations and in workplaces and so. Nicholas Kristof wrote recently about two different people, one an Israeli and one a Palestinian. The Israeli is a woman whose father was killed by two Hamas terrorists who inflicted 41 blows of an axe on her dad and killed him. And she wanted to hate, but she knew where that led. So she actually joined an organization called Parents Circle Families Foreign. This is a joint Israeli-Palestinian nonprofit made up of people who have lost loved ones to the conflict. And instead of indulging hate and increasing the cycle of vengeance, they hold dialogues, bonding in grief with those on the other side of the chasm, give talks together aimed at ending the escalating bloodshed. Kristof expressed his skepticism to her. Is this actually accomplishing anything? I think there is no other choice, she says. Violence just leads to more violence. And then Bassam Aramin is the Palestinian whose 7-year-old daughter was killed by the rubber bullet from an Israeli soldier. Instead of turning to bombs, he turned to reconciliation. He studied the Holocaust in a master's program. He learned excellent Hebrew and tried to see the humanity in Israeli soldiers at West Bank checkpoints. A mutual process of dehumanization has led the other side, he said, to regard the other as morally inferior. He noted that Israelis often suggest the problem is Palestinians don't love their children and are ready to sacrifice them, while Palestinians traffic in a similar stereotype about Israelis. We don't see each other as human beings, he said. He told me of a Palestinian mom of a teenage boy killed by Israeli soldiers who reluctantly came to a parent circle meeting still fuming at the Jews. She believed that they were animals, he recounted, quoting her as saying, they don't have hearts like us. They hate their kids because they send them to the army. But then she met an Israeli mom who told of losing her child to a Palestinian, and soon they were both sobbing and embracing. And this is what they saw, what the scripture teaches. Every human being bears the image of God. Every human being is the object of the self-sacrificing love of Jesus, who went to a cross to overcome evil with good. And that's the thing. Evil is not as strong. Evil will one day be overcome by good. Love will be overcome. Hate will be overcome by love. So the word for today is you too. You also are a human being. My friend Mark was telling me how powerful it was a long time ago in his own life. He was walking around one day and it struck him. All these bodies, all these faces, all these people that are walking around, they have dreams and aspirations and a story just like me. They are a person as deeply as I am. Every one of them is a miracle. So today, whoever you see, you say that little phrase, you too carry the image of God. You too are somebody that I want to love. Today, let go of the hate. Forgive us our debts as we forgive.
Thanks for joining us. At Become New, we want to grow spiritually one day at a time, but it's tough to do that alone. So we're offering a little more support for anyone who would like to work on putting the content into practice. You can sign up to receive a text at the end of each week in this series, asking if you completed the Here's How portion for that week. If you want, you can reply to the text and let us know how it went, or if you need prayer in taking those action steps. To sign up for the end of week reminder, just text the word MORE to 855-888-0444, and we'll put you on the list. As always, to receive the emails or video links by text, you can let us know at becomenew.com/subscribe. If you're already signed up for the emails but aren't getting them, try checking your spam folder, or better yet, you can add us to your contact list. Our email address is connect@becomenew.com. If you need prayer, we're here for you. Text your specific prayer request to 855-888-0444. There's a team of us who meet each weekday to pray specifically over every person who sends a text in. We'll catch you next time.